24 hours a day. Eyewitness News. In touch, in tune, and independent.
Hello and welcome to Eyewitness News. We're still coming to you live from the Cape Town City Hall, which has been declared the parliamentary precinct since our parliament was gutted by flames just 2 years ago. Just one of the numerous problems that we faced with as a country. Just outside, the band is rehearsing, all part of the pomp and ceremony. There are other preparations going on all around us. My name is Kwaza. And we've been getting all manner of analysis from different political analysts, opposition political leaders. And now I thought I would chat to Lawson Naidu from CASAC just to get his views on today's events. Mr. Naidu, welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you.
This is a crunch one for President Ramaphosa. In the history of our democracy, I don't think any head of state has had to deal with the amount and the intensity of problems that this guy is faced with, especially in a few months' time. Our citizens are going to the polls. He has to convince everyone that he's dealing with the issues.
He's got a very difficult job, absolutely. It's clearly it's going to be his most challenging SONA in the 5 years that he's been president. And I think people don't want to hear a repetition of the promises that have been made in the past. The issues remain the same. The load shedding has been with us for 15 years now, and there's no sign of a plan that's going to turn that around. Crime still is a major issue. Provision of basic services, health, education, and so on, are all critical issues. And I think what the president really needs to do this evening is to tell us why he's not been able to make more progress than he has in the 5 years since he's been president. It's time to account. It's time for the president to account to the people of South Africa, take us into his confidence, tell us what those challenges are and what his plans are to overcome those challenges.
I'm glad that you mentioned the issues being the same, because his office issued a scorecard. Well, I'm sure you've seen it.
Yes.
Just on his failures and successes since a year ago, in his last SONA. And there are 11 successes and 8 fails. You could have fooled me. That's not the sense that I'm getting as a citizen.
No, it's not at all, because I don't know what criteria was used to determine what is a success, because we're not feeling the impact of any of that on the ground. Things are deteriorating. Load shedding is getting worse. Crime seems to be getting worse. We have dysfunctional municipalities across the country. Rail services don't work. So he can give himself a scorecard like that, but people don't believe it because they don't see the impact of any of that in their daily lives.
And some of these successes kind of stick out like a sore thumb. Talk about the construction of and maintenance of rural roads that he's given himself a pass for.
No, these things, as I say, what is the criterion for doing that? That you maybe retard 1 or 2 roads around the country, does that constitute success? When the overwhelming infrastructure in the country, in all sectors, seems to be deteriorating rapidly. There's no clear plan to fix it, whether or not we have the skills and the resources to dedicate to that. The president has spoken in the last few years about using investment in infrastructure to kickstart the economy. But we don't see that happening. It's not creating jobs. Our infrastructure is not improving. So, those are some of the challenges that the president needs to account for.
And then there is the EFF, the expected EFF protest. That again has become a regular feature of this event. One wonders, given the kind of problems that we faced with, if this bodes well for the party itself and just for the country.
Well, you know, I think it's regrettable that this has become a sort of regular feature of State of the Nation addresses, or any time, in fact, that the President addresses Parliament, because it is, you know, it's a denunciation of democracy. This is an opportunity, as I said, for the President to account, and he needs to be given that opportunity to speak. You know, Parliament is not the appropriate venue for protest action of that kind. It's a house of our democracy. It symbolizes our democracy, where there needs to be proper engagement on the issues. And simply shouting that on the President does not help and does not create a good impression of South Africa, both to citizens in this country as well as to a global audience, who will no doubt be looking very closely at what the President has to say.
And just finally, sir, just your overall impression, expectation of tonight's speech, and how it's going to turn out, and how it's going to help, and whether or not it's going to help the President and the ANC in the upcoming, that is, do you think it's going to address the issues?
Well, he's going to have to address the issues, but the you know, the reality check will come, as I say, with the implementation, and whether the implementation actually impacts on ordinary people. Are we going to see a significant reduction, for example, in load shedding? Are we going to see potholes being fixed properly across the country?
Bear in mind that you only have a few months.
Well, he's got a year. The election is only in 2024.
Oh, yes.
But the issue is, you know, people are going to judge the President and his party, the ANC, on their performance over the next 15 to 18 months before the next election. And if there isn't a significant improvement, because I think confidence levels amongst ordinary people are probably at one of their lowest ebbs ever. And people are despondent, and the despondency is there because people don't believe that there's a plan to get us out of this hole that we seem to have dug for ourselves.
Sir, thank you for your time. And that was Lawson Naidu from Kazakh. Do continue to stay with us as we continue to bring you live, blow by blow, events from Cape Town City Hall.